to the 6th episode of Ready to Launch Entrepreneurship in the MENA region, a joint series between Riyadh, a Wilson Center podcast, and the Straight Up Startup with its host, Rajae Sahouri. I'm your co-host, Merissa Khurma, Director of the Middle East program here at the Wilson Center. We turn our discussion today to a young Jordanian entrepreneur, Reem al-Smeirat, who is a pioneer in automotive design in Jordan and founder of Concepts for Automotive Design, which, by the way, is the first transportation design studio in the Middle East. Reem, I have to confess, I have never spoken to a car designer, let alone a female car designer before. So welcome to the show, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. I'm really curious to hear about your entrepreneurial journey. Why car design specifically, and how did you get to where you are today at Concepts?
Okay. So it's a very long story. I'll try to be as conclusive as possible. Basically, I've been a fan of cars, a petrol head, ever since I was really young, like about 5 to 6 years old. The story started from my father gifting me a BMW catalog and a BMW scale model. And then it turned into fascination into this dynamic object and how it moves and how aerodynamics and air forces just manipulate the shape, and it can be transferred into power and so on. When I decided to choose a career for myself at the early beginning, I thought mechanical engineering is the answer. I was sketching cars and drawing cars, thinking that this is how you be involved, not really understanding that there is something called automotive design or car design at the first place. And due to the culture and, being in Jordan, there is no manufacturing industry. There is no industrial design at that time. There was so little to know about it. So I started searching for answers in regards to cars and how to be involved in the process of building them and creating the form of them, until I was lucky enough to stumble upon a mechanical engineer who has worked with General Motors, who knew of the design department. And when I shared my passion with him and what I want to do, he introduced me to the concept of car design. And that was my first, guiding light that, okay, this is it. And I need to study more about this and understand what it is. So looking into the fields of industry or the career paths you could choose here in Amman. And at that time, my parents weren't okay with the idea for me to go live abroad and study. So the solution was to choose the German Jordanian University, because it's common ground. You can go for 1 year. At the same time, you're going to be staying here in Amman. And they also were flexible enough at the beginning to offer me the opportunity to study industrial design, despite the fact of no high numbers of students were enrolled in such programs. And once we reached to the point where I needed to go to Germany, I told them, listen, my obsession is car design. I came here to study car design, so I'm going to proceed with car design. And based on that, I chose the university that I did the Erasmus year there, and we chose the program. And I finished, and I got my first, encounter with professional car design and professional company. And it was a program with BMW through the university. We designed a car with them, and I built a clay model, which I got certificate in regards to clay modeling and car design, and came back to Amman to do my graduation project in car design, which was the first time ever on a regional scope to present a design project related to automotive as a university program. The university were so scared, and they were like, we don't have anyone who would support you. We don't teach this. It's going to be on you. You have to take this. We can't assist you in anything else. Don't expect the same treatment that other students get in terms of educational support or teachers or answers. All of this, you have to take it on your own. I said to them, gladly, I have connections with my professors in Germany, and I can build up on the previous experience that I already started in Germany. So that was the launch of the idea of Phoenix, which is my first design project, specialized in electric vehicles in terms of city cars. And from there, I started to know more about entrepreneurship and what it is, and what does it mean to take a project and turn it into a business model, and so on. So the journey started the path to search of becoming a car designer, and how can I be a car designer, and how can I get in touch with big companies, and so on. Long story short, I stumbled upon lots of different choices in hopes of getting to where I want. But circumstances weren't always on my side. And that's exactly why I decided to launch my own company, because I was tired of waiting for the right opportunity. I decided to take things right into my own hands, create my own opportunity by creating my design studio that's specialized in transportation design. And that's where we are today.
Yeah, that's really an amazing story, because regardless of the pushback, you just continued moving forward. I'm just curious, what is it that kept you going? Like, what is it that did not hold you back, regardless of, the pushback from the university or just the lack of support in general?
It's pure passion, I believe. I believe that everyone in life is born for a purpose and a reason. And the more that I learn about car design, the more that I become involved with projects on that scale, there's this level of satisfaction, and you feel like this is why you're born. You're born to do this. So this kind of sensation, I can't get enough of. So no matter what happens, I keep on reminding myself of that point, and you just keep on pushing. And I'm not someone who would take no for an answer.
Good for you.
Yeah, and most likely the people who tried to stop me, or the circumstances that came in the way, they just didn't make sense. They didn't propose enough evidence to why I should stop. They were just nonsense and not based on logic. So yeah, if you can't convince me, I'm gonna keep going.
Well, good for you. Seriously, kudos for continuing the journey onwards. I'm just curious now that you've set up your studio in Amman, and it's the first transportation studio of its kind in the region. What is the feedback that you are receiving? And do you feel like you've started your own sort of like very niche sector? Like, do you see people come towards you?
Yeah, I'm well aware of how the culture and lack of knowledge in regards to car design it is. So I went through this understanding the circumstances or the consequences to my action, let's say. But I do take that into consideration, that this is one of the main goals of establishing such an action is to create an impact and to lead a change. It's basically people are coming in understanding like, wow, this is the closest to Pimp My Ride. That's always the first comment.
That's more aesthetic than anything else.
Yeah, exactly. They don't really understand what it is, and they don't understand the value of car design. So whether it was on actual financial base or on a theoretical base. So that's always the first icebreaker, the closest to Pimp My Ride. I take that and I try to build upon it and try to explain furthermore, realizing that if you want to start a cultural change or to drive some sort of change, you have to put so much, and you have to take in anything that comes your way, because you're leading a change. But so far, it has been an interesting journey. I don't expect much from the local market at this phase, but I do see the vision. I do believe that in the region, we're driving forward towards urban mobility and transportation in general. We're starting to be more exposed to new concepts and AI and understanding the development of technology and how can it be integrated within our day-to-day lives. So I do see the future in this happening. That's why I want to be ahead. So when the wave comes, I'm going to be on top of it. People might not understand what I'm doing, but bit by bit, the projects that we're working on right now, the more we work on it. This caused me to create an initiative called Automotive, which stands for Women in the Automotive Industry. We basically support women in all fields of automotive, and we create a series of seminars and workshops that introduce car design and mechanical engineering in form of design, and how is the revolution of EV cars are changing the way that we perceive cars in general, and even urban transportation. So all of this, we take it into consideration, and we try to introduce it to the culture, to the community, to the universities through seminars and series of workshops, bit by bit.
Excellent. There's so much there that I want to unpack, but I want to go back sort of to one point that you raised, that you're trying to change the culture. Culture is absolutely not static, and it is also very difficult to change. I like that you have this step-by-step approach. But have you been able to at least convince investors that this is really worth building, worth investing in?
So what I have been successful with so far is introducing the concept of customization. What does customization mean? It means that we can alter the statics of the vehicle to enhance performance and to enhance also statics on a personal level or individual level. So I've managed to, I can't really share names because projects like this happen on secrecy level before we can share it on a public level. But so I'm working with a local car dealership right now on a very special project. So that I have been successful with. That's as far as I can say for now.
So heard you say we are working. So who's part of your team, and how did you put that team together?
Yeah. So basically it's me, and the more that I talk about cars and females in the automotive industry, the more that I attract and become aware, and people start to tell me, oh, you should meet this girl. She loves cars, and she's doing this and she's doing that. So basically I started to build up this connection with other girls who are passionate about cars, and they're actually starting to become more into engineering and building their own careers. And based on it, that's how I built up a small community to form this the Automotive initiative, basically, and to put the girls together and to create a bigger impact, like I said, bit by bit. This is basically the team so far. And in terms of the car design, I was hoping to find secret talent somewhere, but so far I didn't. So basically, I did a quick survey online to gather young talents about car design who are passionate in the Middle East. And I found a couple of people from here and there. And basically, we're the force behind Concepts for Automotive Design and Automotive. And we run the business online, just like any COVID situation happening right now. We try to create a platform until it's strong enough to move or to go bigger.
That's really amazing because you are, we keep talking about the future of work, but you are already the future of work. Like you're there, you're doing this you're reaching across the board and you're recruiting from across the region. So that's fascinating. I want to zoom into specific challenges that, or challenge, if you want to just sort of zoom into one challenge that you faced because of your gender and in this particular field. What is that challenge? And then part two of the question, how can the government, now in Jordan, there's the Ministry of the Digital Economy and Entrepreneurship, as well as all these different efforts, trying to strengthen the entrepreneurial ecosystem. So what can the government do to address challenges to support people like you, who clearly, you're a pioneer, you're an innovator, you're really trying to shake things around. And what can the private sector do beyond just investing?
What can they do beyond investing? My experience or my lifespan in regards to entrepreneurship is still at the very early age. But I've been trying to get into this world ever since I launched Phoenix, which was in 2014. So I've been attending lots of these entrepreneurship meetings and programs and so on. What we really need is honesty and integrity. That's what we really need, because I cannot tell you enough how many programs welcomed me in and they put me under the name. And when things needed to come to really become something real, and this is when, like the true cards show. We need people who, they used to call me behind closed doors and tell me, "Oh, Reem, this is cute. How about you change into something like fashion or furniture design? Cars is just a boys thing, and stick to your lane." On the other hand, on in front of the media, we see a lot of support, and they used my name, if I may say this, in so many cases, just to support their initiative and to do the marketing, because I was the only one who's doing cars and doing something innovative for real. And then behind closed doors, no one stands to his word, and it's just propaganda. I can't stress enough how many times I've been into this, and it just makes you feel like there is no pure system that is actually happening for the sake and support for those entrepreneurs or for those Jordanians who are trying to put their heart out and to create something different. That's what we really need. The financial support is available. The money that we receive from so many organizations and just the capacity of support on a global scale is undeniable. And it's out there. And if you ask, you're going to receive it. And you can work, if you work on it, you can get there. But what we really need is integrity for those people in charge who make the final yes or no decision.
I'm sorry that you are going through this and being told behind the scenes that you should change course into, quote unquote, feminine industries.
Yeah.
That must be very, very frustrating. So if there is sort of one thing, and here I'm going to ask you to sort of home into like a technical thing. If there's one technical thing that you would change in the ecosystem in Jordan in order to unlock potential for entrepreneurs like you and many others who are also facing challenges, what would that be?
I have to say something that has to do with the tax system and how much the entrepreneurs, especially on the early ages or the early steps, like first to 3 years, small companies who are working day and night to get investors on board. There are so many fees and there are so many legal work that you need to do. Well, basically, your company is still in very barely a seed phase. So
Yeah.
so you have to, there are so many legal work that I go like, but I don't have this yet. No, but you have to go through this and you have to do this paperwork because that's the only way that you can get there. But that doesn't guarantee for me that I'm gonna reach to that level. They limit you and they restrict you with so many paperwork and legal work and recommendations, and you have to do so much work that is not necessary for the first 2 to 3 years. And you try to express that your company is still an early age, and they tell you, oh, so you don't have a company, so you're nothing. So wait until you go get an investor or double up your account or bring in this and that so we can actually provide for you this legal requirement. Not to mention, in terms of, especially for cars, the possibilities of building a car, or even the concept of creating something from zero related to the automotive, how much taxes that we have to pay, and how much nonsense capital that needs to be put in terms for the government or for the sector that is responsible for this, just to get our word across or just to build a mini prototype. They are almost making it impossible for anyone in the automotive sector, whether it was on design level or engineering level, to build their cars on our own land. So they tell you, go get the experience, go build up your thing, and we want a Jordanian product and so on. But when you actually come to do it and you're ready, they don't allow you to. So you're forced to go and look for resources from outside. And you get the support. You get the support from the outside because the story is attractive. You know, you're talking about the Middle East. People always are looking at us for new ventures. It's a fresh market that doesn't have, for my case, car design. So all the support that I'm receiving is basically from European countries and from European companies who are willing to invest because they look at the story and they see it very attractive. And
they see potential. You know, Reem, what you are describing, or what you just described in terms of, you know, the bureaucratic hurdles and all these different legal requirements and the paperwork and the lack of tax and incentives, and the messaging you've heard as a young entrepreneur, it's almost like a guide to how not to become an entrepreneur.
Exactly.
And that must be very, very frustrating.
Yes.
So now that you've been through this experience and you're still in the beginning of your journey, and we wish you continued success, but if you've learned more than a few lessons, as I can hear, if you could just share what we call the before you launch words of wisdom to those young Jordanians and other youth from the region who sometimes hesitate about starting their own business, what would you tell them?
Follow your passion. This is number one. Number two, read and study and calculate every move. The thing is that your entrepreneurship idea needs to be an extreme risk, but your actions to your entrepreneurship idea needs to be calculated risk. So prepare and over-prepare and overthink, because you can never be prepared enough. Every day is a new journey. You have to know that you will wear different hats every day. You have to be a negotiator. You have to be a financial advisor. You have to be economic. You have to know so much about IT and infotainment systems and all of these kind of things. So be prepared to be diverse. Be prepared to take everything in, and it's an enjoying journey. If you really love what you do, and if you're really honest about your message and what you're trying to accomplish, you're gonna enjoy it. And just this diversity, and every day you have to meet with the different people in different sector, and you learn something new. Mm-hmm. All in all, it's so exciting. So buckle up and get on a ride.
Absolutely, absolutely. Very appropriate use of buckle up.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Reem. This has been a truly fascinating conversation. And I hope that our audiences here in the United States, but also in the region, will really listen to what you have to say. And I am 100% sure they'll be inspired by your journey. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you very much. Thank you for all the support and good luck with this venture. It's really exciting and I'm so happy to be on this podcast.
Thank you. This podcast is funded by a grant from the United States Department of State. The opinions, findings, and conclusions of this podcast are those of our guests and do not necessarily reflect those of the U.S. Department of State.